gravitas is Ramzi Baroud, a journalist and the editor of the Palestine Chronicle. Ramzi, welcome to Gravitas. My first question. We just showed our viewers the state of Gaza as of now. What can you tell us about the situation on ground in Gaza? We're, of course, hearing that the enclave is under a heavy blockade. Food is running out. There's no electricity, no water.
Well, let me put it, at the end of the day, we are journalists. So let me put it in a way that we can relate to as journalists. I have several correspondents in the Gaza Strip helping us with our news network, the Palestine Chronicle. One of them texted me this morning saying that he has a very difficult time being in the same place in order for him to upload and send photos. He said, I can only be in the same place, downtown Gaza, for 5 minutes at a time. He said many of the places I've been to have already been reduced to rubble. So this is something that we have really never truly experienced in Gaza before. And I know you would think that we must have, at one point, we had to go through devastating wars in 2008, 9, 2012, 2014, especially 2014, 2021, 22, and so forth. So we must have seen it all. We've seen thousands of dead, tens of thousands of wounded. We have seen people getting deliberately killed at the border or at the fence between besieged Gaza and Israel. We have seen everything. So what is so different about this? And I think what is so different is something that can be gleaned from the statements made by the Israeli military and the Israeli government, which is genocide. The idea here, and this is no longer Palestinians or human rights workers or United Nations specialists using that term and making that allegation. It's about the Israelis themselves saying, the Minister of Defense saying no food, no water, no medicine. And everyone is cheering for this killing machine, not only in Israel, but in the United States, especially in the United States. The likes of Nikki Haley, presidential hopeful, gives these blank checks to Israel as Biden has done, as Trump has done, as Blinken has done. She goes, finish them repeatedly, looking at the camera with this, scary look in her eyes. They are out of for blood. And here's the thing. Maybe at one point they were hoping that Palestinians would run away, but Palestinians are not going to go anywhere. Not anymore. And the Egyptians
Ramzi,
wouldn't allow
if I may just intervene, I need your opinion on something else as well. Does the Hamas represent all Palestinians? I think that has been the core of this debate. If yes, how does one justify the atrocities committed on Israeli citizens?
Right. Israel wants this to be a conversation about Hamas. They always want this to be a conversation about Hamas. And I don't want this to be a conversation about Hamas, because whether it's Hamas or the socialists or the Islamists or the secularists, it really doesn't make any difference. There are 7,000 Palestinian
but the issue
socialists.
here is we all, of course, understand what Gaza is going through, what the Palestinian people are going through, but we cannot leave Hamas out of this conversation. So that is why I'm asking this question, that how can you separate the two at this point?
We can't
explain it to our viewers who are tuning in to understand this conflict at this point in 2023.
Absolutely. If I may get the chance to answer, please.
Sure.
We are not trying to separate the two. We are saying that Hamas is a reflection of Palestinian society. They represent resistance in Palestinian society. Does it mean that they are always abiding by the 4th Geneva Convention? No. Does it mean that any national liberation movement ever fought a resistance war against the French or the British or the Portuguese or the Italians were always abided by international law and the Hague declarations? Of course not. There will be atrocities and there will be violations of human rights. But we are talking about a besieged people living under the most dire of circumstances, whose lives and blood has been completely reduced to nothing.
Right.
As far as the Israeli discourse and the Israeli practice.
To be clear, there are atrocities being committed on both sides. So my final question for you is, what will be left of Gaza?
This is not acceptable. No, ma'am, this is not acceptable.
So we have to offer the balanced view. We cannot justify atrocities on innocence on any side.
This balance matters to you wherever you are in the world. It doesn't matter that the Palestinians are fighting a genocide. They are fighting for their own survival. I am not saying that it's okay to kill civilians.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm trying to say as well. And that's why I want to know. picture of what's happening in Gaza right now. We, of course, are sympathizing with the people of Gaza. We have told the story of the people of Gaza, which is why I want to ask you.
Gaza has been under siege. Gaza has been under siege
There's no
since
denying that,
2007.
right? So what will be left of Gaza?
Yes, but if I may finish a sentence, ma'am, I need to finish a sentence.
But sir, I cannot let you continue to say that atrocities on innocent is justified on any side. Right. We'd like to remind our viewers on Gravitas that we don't condone violence on any side. This is something that we've said on the show repeatedly, that atrocities are being committed on both sides of this war.